So today's lesson is on using and double line diagram methods. So we are going to go over two different methods you can use to solve these problems. There's a lot of notes here for you to copy down. So if you need to go ahead and take a moment and pause the video at any point in time, make sure you do that. You can also go ahead and pre-write these ahead of time and then watch the video so that you can follow along a little bit better. Okay. So tape diagrams and double line diagrams are used to find equivalent ratios. It's just an easy method for you to use. Our first example we're going to do is our tape diagram method. Okay, and this is a slimy, gloopy mixture is made by mixing glue and liquid laundry starch in a ratio of 3 to 2. How much glue and how much starch is needed to make 85 cups of slimy, gloopy mixture? Okay. So if we go ahead and look at our picture, you can see that I've got it labeled with glue at the top there. And notice how there are 3 boxes, 1, 2, and 3. And then we have a starch, 1, 2. So you can see that there's where our 3 to 2 ratio comes into play. Alright, 3 boxes of glue, 3 boxes of starch. And then altogether that's going to go ahead and equal 85 cups. Okay? So the first question is what is the total number of parts represented? We have 3 parts for glue and 2 parts for starch. So our answer is 5. There's 5 parts. Next question asks us, what fraction of the total does each rectangle represent? Well, if we think about fraction form, if we think about this as a whole and we break it into 5 parts, each part would be 1/5 of the total, or 1 out of 5 of the total. And then we have our next one, is if 85 cups of slimy, gloopy mixture are made, how much of the total does each rectangle represent in cups? Write that amount in each box. Okay. So to go ahead and figure that part out is we know that there are 85 total cups and that it's broken up into 5 equal parts. So we can take that 85 and we can divide it by 5. Okay. And when we divide 85 by 5, we get an answer of 17. The other way for you to do it is you can take 85 and times it by 1/5. Okay? And that's actually the same thing as dividing by 5, and you'll get again an answer of 17. So there is 17 cups in this part, 17 cups in that part, 17 in that one, 17 in that one, and 17 in that one. When we add them all up, they do equal 85. So how much glue is needed? We have 17 plus 17 plus 17 gives us a total of 51, which is the same thing as 3 times 17. And then how much laundry starch is needed? We have 2 times 17, which is equal to 34. And I can check and see if this is correct by actually adding them up as well. I can do 51 plus 34, and that would equal 85. Okay? So that's how we go ahead and use our tape diagram, and we break it up into different parts. Alright, our next method I'm going to go ahead and show you is our double line graphs. The problem starts with this. Jessica can do 60 jumping jacks in 2 minutes. So there is our 60 jumping jacks in 2 minutes. Okay? Complete the following double number line to show equal ratios of jumping jacks to time. So here's our equal ratios of jumping jacks to time. Notice how on this top number line part we have jumping jacks. The bottom part we have time. So all these numbers up here at the top go with how many jumping jacks she does, and down here is the time, and it's going to be in minutes. Okay? So in 0 minutes she does 0 jumping jacks. In blank minutes she does 30 jumping jacks. In 2 minutes she does 60 jumping jacks. Okay? So to go ahead and first to find out our unit rate, this is what we did last time, we can actually take our time of 2 minutes, okay, and we can divide it into 60. We can say 60 divided by 20. And 60 divided by 20 is 30. Okay, so there's our 30, which is our 1. Okay, so our unit rate is 1 every minute is equal to 30 jumping jacks, or 30 jumping jacks per minute, we can even say as well. Okay? So using that 30 jumping jacks for every minute, we can go ahead and fill in the rest of our chart. Alright? And by doing that, we can basically just say times 30. Whatever my time is, multiply by 30. 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 30 is 60. 4 times 30 is 120. I can also say that doubling 2 to 4 is the same thing as doubling 60 to 120. Then I have my 6 minutes. 6 times 30 is 180. I could also think of it as 2 minutes plus 4 minutes is 6. 60 plus 120 is 180. Then I come down here to 300 jumping jacks. Instead of doing times 30 on this one, I would actually divide it by 30. Okay? Because I'm going backwards. And 300 divided by 30 is 10. And lastly then is 12. I have 12 times 30 is 360 jumping jacks. So there is my double line graph that I can use, as well as my tape diagram. Okay? So what I want you to go ahead and do right now is pause your video. Make sure you write down all these problems and try them first. Okay? I'll go ahead and actually zoom in, and I'll get you to write down the first two if you need to. So pause it and write down those two if you need to. And then go ahead and write down and try 3 and 4. Pause it if you need to. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about your answers and what you got then. Okay. So the first one, we have for every 5 calendars that Austin sold, Laura sold 4. Austin sold 45 calendars last month. How many calendars did Laura sell? So this one would be a great way for us to practice our tape method. Okay? And by doing this, hopefully you went ahead and you said Austin, for every 5 he sells, Laura sells 4. And we go ahead and count up Austin's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay? The same number of boxes are going to apply to Laura. Okay? But she's actually going to count by 4s. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Our answer should be that Laura sells 36 calendars. Number 2, the ratio of trucks to minivans in the parking lot is 2 to 5. If there are 14 trucks, how many minivans are there? So I have my ratio here of for every 2 trucks, there are 5 minivans. And I know there's 14 total trucks. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I have 7 boxes there, which means I'm going to have 7 boxes of minivans, but I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 35 minivans is my answer. So that's our tape method practice. The next one is your double number line. Okay. So we have, first one is to make a quilt. Carrie starts to cut squares of fabric of equal size that she'll sew together. The 4 squares that she cut first came from a piece of fabric that was 5 square feet. Complete the following double number line graph diagram excuse me, to show how much fabric she uses for various amounts of fabric squares. So the information they gave you already was the top line is going to be how many fabric squares, and the bottom line is going to be from the square footage that she used. And they gave you that obviously 0 fabric squares is 0 square feet. But then the information she gave in the problem was that 4 squares is equal to 5 square feet. And to go ahead and figure out my unit rate for that one, which I didn't do on here, but I'll go ahead and show you, I actually need to divide 4 divided by 5 will give me my unit rate. Okay. So and actually the other way I can think of it too is I can say half of 4 is 2 and half of 5 is 2.5, and then I can go half of 2 is 1, and then half of 2.5 is 1 1/4. Okay, so that is another option. But if I didn't do that, I would go ahead and divide these into each other. So I would say I have 5 square feet. Alright, and I have 4 squares. Divide by 4 squares. 4 goes into 5 once. Get 1 left over. There's my decimal. Bring down a 0. 4 goes into 10 twice. It's 8. And 2. Bring down another 0. And 4 goes into 20 5 times, giving me an answer of 1.25, which is the same thing as 1 1/4. So that's my unit rate. So I'm going to multiply for every fabric piece I have, it is 1 1/4. So times 1 1/4. So to go ahead and fill in the rest of this, I could do just like I did in my other one. I could do 2 plus 4 is 6, and then I could also do my 2 1/2 plus 5 is 7 1/2, or I can multiply 6 by 1 1/4 to get 7 1/2, or I could actually divide, which is the number that I have, 7 1/2 divided by 1 1/4 is going to get me my 6. Okay, and if you need to solve that out, go ahead and solve it out. So if I did, that's actually a pretty complicated one. So I would do 7 1/2, 7.5, divided by 1.25, which is my 1 1/4. Okay, so I say